I went to the school of YouTube University in order to learn to create videos that actually serve my business, allow me to quit my job, and honestly, literally change my life. Literally from learning free content on YouTube led me to some of my favorite mentors, coaches, friends even. It's been a blessing. I'm not gonna lie, it has been a tremendous blessing. However, when it comes to when you're first getting started and you're in those beginning years, you're looking for the nitty-gritty best tips that you can find. So I want to give you the 10 real YouTube growth tips that help me to grow my channel, and just stuff that you honestly will not find in any kind of YouTube's tips kind of channels. I really want to dive into this one. First thing is just keeping it real. You're going to quit. And it's not to say like you're going to make that post of here's why I've ghosted you and here's why I'm quitting YouTube video, but it's just to say that you're going to get to a point, especially in the beginning days, when you quit on yourself. You really start to go into this negative mindset and state of mind that keeps you from actually doing things or seeing paths and using strategies, or just doing strategies at 100% so that it actually will work. You're not doing it because you don't believe. And so it's really a mindset of you've quit on yourself. I don't care how you put it, you've quit on yourself. When you really commit and sometimes recommit that you're going to be committed to what you're doing or the why you created the channel to begin with, then you'll actually start to see a pathway and you can ask yourself, what does this make possible? Even if you failed or things didn't go the way you wanted, so that you can say like, oh, okay, you know what? I actually haven't been implementing the YouTube thumbnail tips, or I heard them say it, I asked them for a paid or did a super chat so I can get my channel reviewed, but they kept saying the same thing I always hear them say, and so I didn't do it. Sometimes when you kind of have that attitude, it's because you're still missing some of the basic things. That can be hard to hear because this is the widely shared advice. It's like, talk about the YouTube. It used to be tags all the time and like SEO and not SEO. It just would be a ton of things. You've heard it all before, right? But have you implemented all of it? Most of the time, if we're being very real with ourselves, the answer is no. But before you get to that self-evaluation process, you're just going to quit on yourself. But if you recommit to yourself, then you can really start to see some progress and actually start at giving some of these strategies. So you actually can say, for 90 days, I did it at 100%, and here are my results. And now we have something to actually work with. Number 2 real tip, your thumbnails are more important than you're committing time to right now. Sometimes 5-minute thumbnails actually do a good job and they do perform because people aren't so much so attached to the thumbnail for the interest. It is a hot topic. They're watching everything around that topic. Think about like the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial and when that was going on. All you need to do is search Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It didn't matter as long as like the perspective or the video maybe was long enough.
My dog stepped on a bee. We went to the vet.
If you were interested in that information, you watched. You didn't need it to be a good thumbnail because the interest was based into the topic more than the thumbnail compulsion. The difference is when people are looking for stuff usually in your niche that's not like a trending thing, they're not watching all the videos around it at that point. They're looking for the ones that they want to spend the most time on. The reason why thumbnails matter so much is because it's that first layer of defense between you and the viewer. They've already searched for the thing that they want. They know what they want to find information around. They see thumbnails that sometimes suggest that the person possibly has an answer. Some play on the ideas of maybe I have an answer. And then others show that it's just like, I don't want to waste my time with clicking on that. I would rather click on this other thing that is honestly more convincing that they have my answer. That's the real process of thumbnails and the actual social behavior that the viewer is going through. They'll never verbalize it in that way. That's what's actually happening. They're not willing to sometimes commit that time to watch a video that didn't take the extra effort to actually show that you might have my answer as the viewer. So I'm going to click on the video that has a thumbnail that's more compelling to actually showing me if I click on it, it's not going to waste my time. So a 5-minute thumbnail, like I said, sometimes it gets the job done and sometimes, a lot of times, it doesn't. So your thumbnails are far more important than you're committing time to right now. You might want to change that. Number 3, I shared this in a previous video. I was talking about the 5 social media sins, if you will. So check that video out. It's a really good one. I highly encourage you to do so. But several of those tips were around audio. And again, as a video first person, I love cameras. I love video, but cameras take a second seat, the actual video side of things. It takes a back seat to the audio. And if you're not committing enough time to actually making sure the audio is good, doing that extra bit of work to refine the audio, to maybe remove the background noise, upload it to a program like Auphonic or put it into Audacity or something to make it a better listening and audible experience for the viewer, they shouldn't have to listen to you and it sounds like you're speaking down the hallway. When you add these kind of elements into your videos and you're expecting them to watch it because you said it was good, that's not the definitive metric. You don't get to decide if the video is good. The viewers will decide if a video was valuable to them or not. And sometimes when you cut corners on the things that actually matter, you're showing the viewer that I don't care that you care about the audio. I don't care that this is bothering you. Just deal with it, or this is good enough. Good enough is one of the easiest ways to fail in some of anything of what you're trying to do. And when you take that approach to audio, you fail when your video performs because people are going to leave because they cannot stand to keep listening to it the way that it sounds. Real tip number 4, pick a strategy. And if you're going to implement it, do it at 100%. To be 100% honest, and for some of you other Christian viewers, guard your ears. When you keep half-assing it, all you're going to get is half-assed results.
Watch your profanity.
It's just how it works. There's no way that you're going to give like 10% effort but get a 10,000% return. It doesn't work that way. So if you're going to use a strategy, give it 100%. The strategy is given to you step by step, guideline by guideline. Fill it all the way out. If you're going to do a strategy and you're going to implement it, don't blame the creator. Don't blame the course creator. I see people commenting on fellow creators like courses and stuff, or commenting in their sections where they're promoting it. And it's like, oh, I bought it. It didn't work for me. It's like, did you go through all of it, or did you skip past 7 of the lessons that you actually needed and you just went to what you thought you needed? Clearly you don't know the answer, so why not let them guide you? If you're going to do a strategy, don't half implement it or less than 50% and you're just barely dilly-dallying along. You're just not giving it everything that it's worth. Give it all that you have. So when you go to that creator, you can say, am I missing something? Or I thought I did it at 100% here. Please help me to point out some of the gaps. And they would be happy to help somebody like that. But if you're complaining in their comment section about, this didn't work, it didn't do what I thought it was going to, you might as well just have never have spent your money to begin with. That's just the real honest truth. And number 5 goes into that same thing. Invest in knowledge and education and execute it to the T. I already belabored this point a little bit earlier. I kind of ran over into this tip. But invest in knowledge. Everything that you will find on YouTube, for the most part, is usually from honest people trying to give an honest perspective, at least for the most part. However, if you're going to go about a path or doing something, at some point it's going to require an investment. Stop asking for the best free, the best cheap. Sometimes what you need costs. I'm not saying spend all your money or be crazy with your expenses and stuff. I'm not saying that. I think I'm a pretty frugal person and I don't spend a lot of money in that way. Now, even when it comes to gear and stuff, I'm like a gear minimalist compared to some of my friends and fellow creators. So frugality is not bad, or being frugal is not bad, but learn to invest in information and knowledge, because the shortcut to the shortcut already is YouTube. With a free Gmail account, you can be global today. So invest in knowledge, invest in yourself. It's only going to help you. It's not going to harm you as long as you do it to the T. Number 6, invest in more knowledge than you do in camera gear. I know so many creators that got into the gear acquisition syndrome. Easy to do in the camera space. And every time they keep releasing something, Techtober, it's really hard to not buy every little thing that comes out, because it's going to solve problems right now. It's going to future solve problems. It's just like going for the Bee's Knees Hall of Fame. Hold your horses. When you are looking at where your money should go and actually assigning those dollars before you spend them, invest more in knowledge and information and education than you do in camera gear. I don't like to record with a smartphone. There's nothing wrong with the modern day smartphone look or what the cameras produce. They look really good. And when you look at side-by-side comparisons of smartphones and then like some camera or something, they look great. And sometimes they just look great out of the box. If that's not your cup of tea, then fine, get what you need to start creating. But don't just go overboard with constantly buying and buying and buying. You never learn any of the gear, so you're on this hamster wheel trying to figure out this gear. Too many learning curves equal a circle. Stop what you're doing invest in more knowledge than you do in the gear. Cameras and stuff isn't going nowhere. Your phone is plenty capable. Number 7, hire out your number 1 creative block. If you're not great at editing, that's fine. If you're not great at recording, that's fine too. Matter of fact, most of y'all have nieces, nephews, cousins, somebody that wants to be a YouTuber that they would not love to come and help you film. You don't have to do all these different things yourself. I like being a well-rounded creator that knows a lot about different things even before becoming like a YouTube strategist, educator, and then like specifically in YouTube and stuff. You don't have to do all that. You can hire out your number 1 creative block. So if editing is not your jam, don't. Go ahead and hire out. We actually have the Building a Team course that you can check out at buildingateam.live. If that is something that you want to know how to hire out for that, I would recommend that. However, if you know that you want to do the editing, just commit some time to doing it or learning it or whatever. But there's a book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy called Who Not How, and it's all about hiring or finding out the who is the right person for a position, or who do you know or who do you need to know that's going to do that job, that can take care of that. You don't need to always know the how. So don't stress yourself thinking you got to figure out all these different things. Sometimes spending a little bit of money to invest in somebody else doing the work takes a lot of stress and a lot of bottlenecks out of the way and allows you to create more freely and easily. Number 8, hire a coach specifically for YouTube. I get that there are like social media strategists and like they throw in YouTube in there, but it's literally impossible to know every perfect strategy for every specific application. But hire somebody specifically to help you with YouTube. That is a YouTube specific expert. All they do is eat, sleep, drink YouTube. They can tell you what's updated, what's changing, social strategies and the like. Sometimes I'll have advice or people are saying like, well, what about this? That's from 2018. It's like you knowing the history and the progress of YouTube makes sense. Who you hire, that's really up to you. Who do you feel comfortable with? Who do you feel like really understands you, or maybe they specialize in your niche? I'm not just going to promote myself and say, hey, go sign up for a coaching session or ask about our 9-session coach. Like, no, it may not be that I'm necessarily the right person for you, and that's okay. But go and find somebody that is going to be the YouTube specific expert for you, and make sure you're actually digesting all of the content and the stuff that they're sharing about the platform. But go pay for a coach and actually get specific help for your specific niche and your specific channel, instead of just kind of like winging it the whole several years. And it's like, yeah, you've been doing this for years, but you've been winging it the whole time too, looking at a bunch of free information and free strategies. And sometimes they aren't going to gel and mix together. Again, hamster wheel of information. Just go and find somebody, get actual specific strategic information and hire a coach for YouTube. And then of course you can go to dinahgladney.com, click on the work with me if you do want to work with me. Number 9, track your analytics, but don't be ruled by them emotionally. When you really start to pay attention to your analytics, when you really start to understand why one metric is showing this, or what these numbers actually mean and how you should potentially implement changes, that's fine. Like, you have the information, you're not emotionally charged by it. But it's easy to get caught up in that, oh, this video failed because it doesn't have the views, or this video failed because maybe the audience retention just dropped, it just plummeted. I've had those videos. Sometimes you just can't plan every little single thing. You have to be able to just be okay with sometimes you won't know how every little thing is going to perform. You expect one to do well and it doesn't, and you expect another to just tank it and it shoots up, and it's like, why that one? So it happens to all of us, literally all of us on the platform. But when you're in those early stages of creating content, or when you finally have committed to really going all in, you like, what's the effort for? What's all this work for if I'm not going to get the return that I want? This is where you have to have a commitment that's greater than the numbers. If the only reason that you're into YouTube is because you want to become famous or YouTube famous, or you want more money, money isn't enough to get you through the struggle or the desire for it. Not that it's not important, but the desire for it as your chief aim, it is not going to be enough of a goal, of a want, of a desire to make you keep going and push through even when you don't want to, on the days when things don't look or go the way you want. Just understand that it's going to happen. Even any creator, creator, business owner, they're going to have ebbs and flows. You have to have something that's greater, that's on the inside of why you're doing what you're doing, for why you're making this content. Otherwise, go back to the first point, you're going to quit. Except that time, it will be final. And number 10 here, near and dear to my heart, and is that you are not going to learn your camera quickly if you're only creating videos once a week. The goal of producing content once a week is not for you only to touch your camera once per week. And if you're getting started in video and you're new to all of this, and you're only recording once a month, you get caught onto the idea of batch recording. When you do not know how to make one video right and well and have done that enough, you do not have the mother of all learning, being repetition, working for you. Just don't have that in place yet. It's not to say you can't, but I wouldn't recommend it. Why? Because once a month, with a new camera, new lens, new concept, new all of this of recording, you don't know what to look for, what to do, or when mistakes are being made. You don't have any processes in set up or nothing. No systems, no nothing. You're just flying off by the seat of your pants, but you're only doing that once a month. You'll never learn your camera gear that way. You need to be touching your camera and using it every day for the first 30 days. You switch cameras every day for the first 30 days. And sometimes it may need to be 60 days, depending on what your schedule is like. You may have one day where you are able to record or create something, and then where you just have to like stop and you're like, oh, man, I got 2 days, I gotta really practice, or 2 days at work. Things happen, like life happens to us all. However, you need to be committing for 30 to 60 days when you first get a camera. Create with it constantly. Why? Imagine learning to drive. You get your license after maybe driving once. Somehow by miracle you get it. What does it look like if you only drive once a month? You're never going to get comfortable. You're never going to know how to handle aggressive driving or aggressive maneuvers. You're never going to know how to drive in snow if you're only driving one. Like, this principle applies to anything. You won't learn your new computer if you're switching from a Windows-based machine to a Mac. You're not going to learn that Mac if you're only touching it once per month. So why would you learn the camera that same way? Again, near and dear to my heart, so I'm probably on my soapbox right now, but you understand the point. You need the mother of all learning, which is repetition, working for you, not against you. Pro tip here, I'm not saying record a video like this every day. Nobody has time for that. Like, literally ain't nobody got time for that. But you can make a short or a YouTube story or even a Instagram story. Everybody has access to that. You don't need any kind of numbers to get access to that. Can you make a video like that? Can you make a 60, 90-second video every day? Yes, you have that time someplace. Doesn't take long to edit, doesn't take long to execute. Even when I did my shorts, the short strategy that I was using and just like making skits and stuff, that would just be so I could use a camera. I'm finding another reason to use a camera. And obviously because my skits are fun, but I'm finding another reason and another way to use my camera. Do I need to use my camera for everything at this point? No, but I'm also, again, letting the mother of all learning, repetition, work for me. So when somebody asks, oh, this setting is wrong, or I'm having issues with this, and they're messaging me on Instagram, I can already tell them, you probably have this setting changed. You need to change it to this. Go to second menu, tab this, go down to page 3. I can already tell them that. Why? Because the mother of all learning is working for me, not against me. I know this video went a little deep. Again, I just wanted to give you all the real deal Holyfield information when you are creating content, because as you're rolling over into 2023, or maybe you're already watching this in 2023, either way, content works when you work it. This is a journey. You cannot just decide like, I'm just gonna quit, or I'm gonna do it sometimes. Like, the YouTube is a commitment. This is something you actually do want to commit to. And if you have questions, feel free to post those down below. I would love to hear from you. But I don't actually have a video I want to recommend. I'm just gonna leave it here because this one did its job all its own. Are you an entrepreneur struggling to get your brand noticed through video content? Look no further. The One Right Video is the ultimate guide to creating videos that will amplify your brand and grow your business. It's jam-packed with practical tips and strategies to help entrepreneurs just like you succeed in video content creation. Don't let your competition get ahead. Mark your calendar for March 1st and be among the first to get your hands on a copy of the One Right Video. Go to onerightvideo.com.